goody? It's your boy Chuck Diesel, the Lone Wolf. We back up in this thing. It is Wednesday, July 8th. I'm looking way more put together than I was this morning. And with that being said, I'm still sipping some tea. So what we talking about? Oh, as you can see, I'm back in the market. I'm looking at what to be on the lookout for in the morning. I'm looking for some plays. You already know. We looking for some plays. I'm just trying to make a play. Little shawty on my line and she begging me to stay. Let me play that one time for you. Let me play that. So y'all know what I'm talking about. And don't think I'm just over here saying something. This is the theme song for the rest of the year. You feel me? It's called MOM. And if you didn't know, I don't just make money in the market. I also make music to make money too.
Ease with it,
You
but
feel
shit.
me?
Money on my mind, I'm just trying to make a play. The shawty on my line and she begging me to stay.
You heard what I
Think I'm over
said?
the West Coast, nigga. They coming from the East with it, but
Look,
shit.
listen.
Shout out all my niggas out here, man. Big stepper type shit. Look. Money on my mind, I'm just trying to make a play. The shawty on my line and she begging me to stay. Think I'm a masseuse cause I make them feel some way. Smoking on a pack that I picked up in the bay.
Coming from the woo. And I'm gonna leave it there. I ain't got too much to say. But like I said, without further ado, let's get into it. I got a watch list set up for y'all, and then I got a breakdown set up for y'all. So let's just go ahead and talk about what happened today first. First off, we had a big drop, we had some chop, and then we had everything reclaiming highs again. So as you can see here, Apple went green, Nvda went green, Tesla, we had a red day. But at one point in time, all of these had hit lows today. We started off red. Apple went red. You feel me? Everything went red for a little bit, and then we got a little bit of bounce on a couple of names, and then ultimately we sold off on everything that was important at the end of the day. When I say that, the SPY finished red, the S&P 500 finished red, and QQQ is the only ETF that I'm watching that didn't finish red. So we opened at 704, and we bounced to 711. With that being said, I'd be looking for a little bit of upside in technology stocks tomorrow, see what we could pull off. Let's look at Tesla. Yeah, Tesla's red. So we had some sell off, we had some rising, and then we had some falling, and then we had some chop. In my opinion, a lot of the day, all this is chop. In my opinion, all this is chop. 390 is a low, and then up here is a high. But with that being said, tomorrow I'm just going to see if we can hold the highs of today. If we can't hold the highs of today, we could possibly go back to the lows that we've seen for the last week in a lot of these names. Nvidia has been struggling to break this 196, 197 for a minute. We finally did and went to 202. But if we break below 200, I believe we're going right back to 96. But all that we could hop into name specifics in a minute. We could hop into name specifics in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. So what to look forward to for tomorrow and what to expect. Tomorrow's bias is neutral, slightly bearish. Part of the reason it's bearish is one, we had a little bit of run up at the end of the market today. I believe that run up is just going to run right back down. Two, we had news coming from the man in charge, right? We've had this geopolitical stuff going on with Iran, with oil, with yield risk, and the Nasdaq has been trying to recover, but let's see, did the Nasdaq go green today? All right, so the Nasdaq's trying to recover. We went green, but the Dow and the S&P 500 is still down. And if you look over here on the right-hand side, we have a lot more red in this box than we do green, right? So I'm going to be expecting to see a lot more red tomorrow. Unless when we wake up, a lot of these go green. I'm expecting to see more red on names like QQQ, SPY, SP 500, right? And with that, I'm going to set up for a bullish outlook. I'm not going to call it full on bearish unless QQQ and SPY start to fall and they can't regain, right? And I'll go ahead and list my pivot points once we get to the watch list. But with the S&P and the Dow both closing down, it's interesting because text and QQQ show a little bit of upside. So it's conflicting news right there. So the first thing I'm going to be watching is the S&P 500 and QQQ and see if they can get back on the same, you feel me, vibe, same channel, because they kind of mirror each other. So what one does, the other does. At the end of the day, they started to diverge a little bit. So I'd be curious to see if they can get back on track. Oh, tomorrow is going to be Thursday. We have our weekly jobless claims. Those are going to be at 8:30, and then we're going to have our existing home sales at 10 o'clock. Both of these are going to play into the market direction a little bit. It gives people sentiment on comfortability with the market and how they should feel on things. If the home market is doing well, if people are buying houses and paying off their houses, it makes people feel as if there's money to be made and money to be had. If the housing market is doing bad and nobody's buying, nobody's selling, it makes people feel as if money is at a standstill and it'll fluctuate where they put their money. Mainly, I'm going to be looking at the S&P 500, the SPY. I don't know how many times I could say that. I'm saying it over and over. So like people understand that pretty much everything that happens corresponds to these two tickers, and you don't have to watch 50 names. I used to have a watch list that was 20, 30, 40, 50 names deep. I keep about 6 tickers on my watch list at any given time. And if I'm going to rotate something in, I stop looking at something else. So, with that being said, we're also going to have a couple of things for earnings. Pepsi is going to have earnings. WD-40 is going to have earnings. Delta has earnings Friday in pre-market. So tomorrow would be a decent time if you did want to play it before Friday to get in at open for whatever you think is going to happen. With it being an airline stock with Spirit falling and being the beginning of July, I feel like they're going to probably make some announcement saying something to get people to buy more. I I wouldn't be afraid to take a call on Delta earnings for Friday. Tomorrow, I wouldn't be afraid to take a call or to take a put Friday morning because they're going to factor in a lot of earnings already in the last week or two. People have been prepared for earnings, so it's factored in that growth. And then tomorrow is going to happen. So people who are like me and just finding out might try to get ahead of it. And then on Friday morning, regardless of what happens, it's probably going to have a little sell off. So I feel okay with taking a put if you want to swing. If you just want to get in for a nice little pop tomorrow, I'd take a call out open. Me personally, I'm probably not going to play it. I might go, let's go look at Delta right now just so I could take note of where it's at. And then I can just, you feel me, see if my prediction is correct. Because I have a feeling what I just said is pretty close to what's going to happen. And why is that? Because I have confidence in myself. Why is that? Because I did this 1,000,005 times. It's tried and tested. I don't just be speaking out my ass. You feel me? The older I get, the more that I realize that some people who just say stuff just to say stuff start to think that you're like them and you just say stuff to say stuff. And I say you're like them for the sense that like me personally, I don't say anything unless I know it. Like if I'm not at least 75% or more sure in what I'm saying, I'm just not going to talk. I didn't realize that people say stuff just to talk. Like, for what, bro? What's the point? I I only speak if it serves a purpose for the most point. You won't find me just saying shit just so I could not be in the quiet. I love the quiet. I love the quiet. I can sit in a room by myself for an hour and not speak, 5 hours and not speak. I could sit in the room with somebody else for 5 hours and not speak as long as they didn't. You feel me? Oh, sometimes people think that's weird. All right, so what are we looking at? This is today. Went to the downside, broke up a little bit. Right now, we're at 86.99. Let's see. About a week ago, $93. And had this big little sell off, and tried to bounce, big ass sell off after hours. Yeah, they might have horrible earnings. These two sell-offs right here, these make me think that somebody knew that earnings was coming up and they said, "Fuck it, I'm flushing my position now before we have a bad earnings." So those two sell-offs make me a little skeptical, but with the fact that I know that earnings get people excited, I wouldn't be surprised to see this go from $87 to about 89, $90 range between now and Friday, and then Friday during the day for it to finish really about where it is. I Let's see what the fair value. is for it. Fair value is $48. That is funny. That's funny as fuck. Yeah, I didn't expect that. Yeah, I'm definitely not playing this. So, Mumu was saying to expect more downside. I can see this hitting 85. If we break through 84.79, we might be going back to $80. So yeah, delta to $80 possibly. If it does break to the upside, I don't see it getting past 90. But again, I'm not watching this. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and make a little watch list for this and make a chart for it. But this is literally just gonna be for shits and gigs, just to see if my predictions really go crazy the way that I know that they can go crazy. You feel me? All right. So moving on. I had to do a quick little write up, and we're gonna make a little chart for that and monitor it tomorrow to see if I'm right or not, right or wrong. So reportedly, oil has jumped with the tensions between the U.S. and Iran, and MarketWatch has noted that the 10-year yield has moved higher during the risk-off open. So oil and yields are going to put pressure on tech, to say the least, and that's why I'm watching SPY and SPX. I was looking at QQQ earlier, and I kind of see a ugly W. This isn't really a W per se because it's not even, but like this right here forming at the 712 level, if we break 712.22, I believe we can see 724 very easily. And if you paid attention to today, we had an $8 gap up today. So if you add 712 plus 8, that gives you 720 very easily, right? So regardless of whether it goes to 724, 720 and 724 are very close to the same number if you ask me. So yeah, I'm going to be looking for that with QQQ, and with the fact that we had a lot of talk about the straits and about oil. But chips and AI are still heavy on everybody's mind because everything is taking AI, everything is technology based and driven. So the fact that this was green in the face of a red market, very surprising. I'd love to see if it can continue with this green direction into tomorrow. So, in order for me to have confidence that that is going to continue bullish, I would want to see QQQ go ahead and break out of 712 240. That's this level right here, 712 240. Oh, we could break that, then I'll have some confidence in it continuing higher. If we can't break that, I'm not going to tell you that I see it going to the top. What's good, gang? All right. Hold on one second. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. All right, whatever. It's cool. I just connected my phone to Discord. I was gonna try and up the camera quality on you, but it's cool. But yeah, so if QQQ could go ahead and reclaim this 712 240, then we easily have room to 716. And if we can break 716, we're going to 720. If we break 720, we're going to 724. Yeah, ho. You feel me? Let me see what we looking at. This right here, 713. From 713, my next level is 719, 720-ish. So yeah, but if we reject this 712, my next level is going to be 708.40. And if we lose 708.40, we're going to the downside. If we bounce in between 708.40 and 712, That's my chop zone. I'm not really going to be looking at it too hard. For Tesla, let's look at Tessie, my baby. Oh, let me tell my brother I'm live if he wants to hop on. All right. So looking at Tesla, 394 is where we're at. If we break below, let me see, what did I have up earlier? Yeah, I have my 4 hour up. So if we break below this 394 level and break beneath 393.88, we have room to the downside back to 380. And before that, we'd have 385 and then 380. So if Tesla can't hold this 393 level, we're going to 385 and then we're going to 380, right? But on the flip side, if we get this little dub, y'all see that dub? We got a little W forming on the 4 hour, baby. If we get that W, and we break 411, we're going to 422, and then from 422 we're going to 434. That's a nice little level right there. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. So let's see if we can get that. I'd love to hop in for a little retest first beneath this 393 level, and then see it ride its way back up and just confirm that it really does want to continue up. And I believe Tesla had good news today. I'm pretty sure they did. News. There's a Tesla SpaceX merger, but it says it's light years away. Okay, SpaceX just opened, so not surprised. Oil surges. Oil has nothing to do with Tesla as a car. Might affect the factories. Rivian wants more cash. Yeah. All right. All of this is talk. All right. Tesla options spot on. 2.83 million contracts were traded with 6 million open interest. That was 5 hours ago. I know some of them contracts are still open. Tesla robo taxis could be blocked from New Jersey. Okay, that might give us a little bit of downturn. But the fact that the announcement for the robo taxis was made in the last week makes me believe that we still might have some upside. Elon loses 50 billion in a single day. That has nothing to do with the company itself, and it's probably because of the movement on Tesla and SpaceX. I'm not going to read any more of the news. I'm just going to watch the chart. And so if you look right here on the 15-minute, this is a pretty clean W right here. That's a pretty clean W. And then it ended the day off. So going into tomorrow, I would love to see if we could continue off and break this 396 level. Let me go ahead and put a line here. Oh, I'm going to put it where the body is on this candle. So that's 394.70. And then the next level is 396.12. So if we can break this 394 and hold and then break 396.12, I'm going to be looking for 397. From 397, I believe we're going back to 404. And I definitely believe Tesla has the room for it very, very easily, especially if it reclaims this 250-day moving average on the 15. Let's see where we're at. Oh, yeah. And on the one, we stayed above the 250, the 20-day, and VWAP towards the end of the day. So, yeah, if we open up and stay above VWAP, stay above the 20-day, and stay above the 250, I see a lot more upside on Tesla very easily. But I'd love to see it break this 400 level and this 404 level first. And if it can't do that, if it rejects the 400, it's going to 391, then 385, then 380. So tomorrow is all about whether today's risk off move gets continuation or if tech confirms a dip buy. Because right now, I'm going to kind of look for continuation to the downside until we get some more positive news about these conflicts between countries. And I don't see that in the foreseeable future. I see good news amongst technology, tech, and AI because people have so much hope for it. And people are investing a lot of money in it, having a lot of expectations. So these companies are going to want to deliver, and they know that the news drives the stock price up. So regardless of whether the prices are sustainable, that's a whole nother thing. But the conversation around them are going to be happening because it moves the market. So QQQ has an ugly W forming on the 4 hour, but it's only valid if it can break above 712 and 716. Tesla, I can see 380 if it opens weak and it fails that 397, 391, but I'm not going to chase puts on the first candle. I'm going to wait and see what happens because if it can hold 394 and go to 400, we have room to 412, 420 very easily. Oh wow. That's crazy. And let's talk about my baby really quick before I get out of here. So we got the S&P 500. We broke above this past month and went to 7620. That was back in June, at all-time high levels. And then today we broke above 7545, 7551. Was that yesterday? Yeah, that's yesterday. All right. Here we are. Here we are. So yeah, that's yesterday. We broke above 7551, and then today we fell back below that 7500 level, and we went all the way to 7420s. Right. And so if you've been paying attention, I have 7427 as one of my levels of support and resistance, and then my next level from there is 7440, and then 7450, 60, and then 7500. So what I'd be looking for first off is for it to break back above 7500 in the morning. If it breaks above 7,500 in the morning, I'm going to be looking for that 7560 level again. And before it gets there, excuse me, I wouldn't be surprised if it tried 7534. And if we can hit 7534, we're going to 7570 and then 7560. So 7560 is what I want to see based on how the S&P 500 usually moves. But I'm also aware of the fact that a lot of news is going on. And at any given moment, anything could happen between the geopolitical standpoint between us and Iran. And that's definitely going to make waves in the market. So I'm not going to stick to any one side, but I am going to be looking actually for the downside at open tomorrow because of the fact that Trump made an announcement talking about that the ceasefire is off. So with that being said, I believe that 7440 is in play. Then from there we have 7420, and then from there we can go all the way to 7385. And from 7385, 7360, 7320. So you can see my levels right here. And then we're going to go to the cheat sheet. Oh, matter of fact, I might as well just go to the cheat sheet at this point. So my number one rule at open is don't chase anything. I'm going to wait for VWAP retest and for the 20-day EMA retest, possibly a retest of the 250-day. I'm cautiously bearish unless bulls reclaim 712, 716 on QQQ, and we want to reclaim 750 on SPY. If we can't get at least back to 746, I'm not bullish until we break 746, 747 on the SPY. So let's go over the actual watch list. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of surprised. I'm not surprised, I'm proud of the fact that I just did all of this without looking at the images at all. Oh, go ahead, do me a favor in the comments and tell me what are your favorite tickers? What commodities do you like to trade? And what do you want to see me break down in a video? Or would you like to see me actually trade? 'Cause I don't want this to just be me pouring out my heart all the time. You know what I mean? Y'all can ask questions. All right, so those were the trades for yesterday. All right. So, market outlook for tomorrow. This is just pretty much recapping everything I just said. Our base case, we're early on going to be expecting chop, and then we're going to be expecting deciding moves. The market overall is kind of neutral. It says slightly bullish here, but in the back of my head, I'm kind of bearish. I'm bullish for the fact that QQQ closed up and that I believe we have room to the upside, but everything ended down in terms of the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, and the SPY, and some of my favorite tickers. So I know, like I said, at 8:30, we have our initial jobless claims. We have a census business formation going on. We have the U.S. Treasury 30-year bond reopening auction. Whatever happens at that auction is definitely going to move the market. If people aren't spending a lot of money or big money like what's expected, people are going to be afraid for what's going to happen in the future. And then we have the Fed balance sheet release at 4:30, so after market. That's really going to be something to be looking forward to for Friday when it goes into trading. Key things to factor in is that we have a possible ugly W on QQQ right now. We have bond yields coming tomorrow in the 30-year auction, and Nvidia in semi leadership for QQQ confirmation. So Nvidia is a little bit up, barely up, and QQQ finished up. So if Nvidia can continue going up, we can possibly get a confirmation for QQQ to continue up. Tesla has some relative weakness. Right now, it's under 404. If it stays under 404 and under 393, we're going to the downside. I'm going to look for upside on it, but you never know. So our bull scenario is hold 708, 712 on QQQ. If we could do that, we could reclaim 724. For SPY, if we can reclaim 744, 745, I can see a push to 747, but I'm not fully bullish on the SPY until we reclaim 749 and break up 750, 751. I actually made money today on the 750 and 751 puts. So I'd want to see it break through that before I was bullish on that. For the S&P 500, I'd love to see it reclaim 7,500. If we could cleanly reclaim 7,500, I know we're going to 7,560. In Nvidia, I wouldn't be surprised if we stay between the 202, 204 levels and just kind of chops, because it's taken so long to even reclaim $200. So I wouldn't be surprised if it just chops tomorrow. Oh, with the consensus expectations, that's really making the market look kind of mixed, neutral. People are going to be scared to do anything too much, probably just going to pull out most of their money and sit on cash, right? But we're going to be looking for directional data after all the announcements are made and see where the room is to ride the volatility up on human behavior. We have a slight bullish edge just because tech finished up, so we could expect tech to continue going up. And so yeah, that's pretty much what I got for you. Um, really, just be ready to watch, trade, and react. We have yields, and the yields are gonna show the leaders in the market and where people feel comfortable. It's really about where is people's comfortability right now and what's happening that makes people uncomfortable, because that's going to determine where a lot of the selling is at and where the buying is at. If people are comfortable in the economy, if people are comfortable in the company, they're going to put their money into it. The stock is going to go up. If people have any uncertainty, they're going to pull their money, whether it's good or bad, which is why I don't look for the price of a stock to be any single price, because the stock could be doing beautifully, the company could be doing beautifully, and people are afraid of that sector, so they pull their money out. Though I follow the market, I follow the money. Oh, right here, I have my levels for the SPY. So I already told you, I want to see us break through 74.70 or 747 before I see more upside. If we do, 752, 758 are inbound. If not, we could possibly see 725. Really, for the SPY, I don't really see it going below 740 before buyers step in, unless we have horrible news. QQQ right now we're at 711.44. I think that this very easily can go to 724 tomorrow if we have good tech news, or depending on the news around oil. If we do break below the 711, the first level I'm watching is 708.80. And if we break below that, I think we can go to 700. The S&P, like I said, I want 7,500 on this baby. If we can get 7,500, we can get 7,551 pretty damn easily. But on the inverse of that, if we break any lower than 74.60, you see, that's the first level. So I'd be waiting to test 74.60. If we break 74.60, I think we're going to 73.80. This 74.20, 74.28 level is cool, but it didn't really want to stay there. It wants to go either to 7,500, 7,600, or 72. And that's just how I feel about that. Tesla. So the bull trigger for Tesla is for it to break 396. The better move is for it to break 404. If it can break 404, we can see 412, 424 very, very easily. What I'm going to be looking for to confirm this is weakness or strength on QQQ. And if QQQ can hold above where it opens at, I'm going to look for strength in Tesla. And the same thing with the SPY and with the S&P 500. And then for Appl, all right, now Appl is at about 313.39. If it can hold that 313.39, I believe we can break through the 315 level and hit 317. I actually like Apple for the 317, 320 price range. It's just been struggling to go that way and stay that way. Oh, do if we do lose this 313.39 level on Apple, we're going to see 312 to 310. With Nvidia, we had a nice little breakout today. We closed at about 204. The next level up is 203.60. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even like claiming levels for this. Really, I think we have fair value from here until 212, 220 very easily. But it's been struggling the last couple of weeks to hold $200. I'm not gonna hold you. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Nvidia take a dip back to 196 tomorrow. SoFi had a nice little breakout this week. It almost hit $20. Bless his heart. It wants $20 so bad, but it can't maintain $20 for shit. So really, I wouldn't be surprised if SoFi went all the way back to 1650, but it's been holding the $17 range for the last 2 days. So the next level on SoFi would be 1780. And then if it holds 1780, we have 18. If we could hold 18, we can go to 19. But I really expect more downside on SoFi. And Google, this is kind of just the shits and gigs. Right now it's at 361. If it can break through to 364, we could have upside to 368, 372. But I don't really watch Google on a regular basis. I just threw this in for my brother low key because he told me he was on Google. But our number one rule for tomorrow is wait for confirmation. If you think you see something happening, look at it on the 5 minute, the 15 minute, and possibly the hour. And also make sure you check VWAP and check your EMAs across multiple time frames. After you do that and you still feel the same way about it, go ahead and take the trade. So right here, I have my triggers, I have my confirmations, and I have my levels to watch for the breakouts once they happen. So all of this is just for educational purposes. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Hit me in the DM. You can hit me on IG. I'm down to answer any questions.